The forest by the slow river lived in careful balance. Each animal kept to its role, and most days passed without raised voices. Among them lived a gentle crane who built his nest near the reeds. He was known for his patience and for speaking only when needed. When disputes arose, others often asked him what he had seen because he watched quietly and remembered details without anger. One season, food grew scarce. The river pulled back, and the fish hid deeper than before. Hunger made tempers short. A jackal who lived near the hill paths began to notice how often animals listened to the crane. The jackal was clever and restless, always measuring how words could move others. He did not like that trust gathered round someone else so easily. One evening, the jackal spoke softly to the deer while they drank at dusk. He said the crane had been counting nests and measuring stores. He said such watching was not innocent. The deer felt uneasy but said nothing. The next day, the jackal told the monkeys that the crane had warned him about a coming flood, yet the river stayed low. He laughed and said perhaps the crane enjoyed fear more than truth. The monkeys repeated this with smiles, changing the tone each time. The crane heard the whispers, but believed silence would keep him clean. He had always trusted that steady behavior spoke louder than rumors. When the turtles asked him if he had spoken of floods, he shook his head and returned to fishing. When the boars looked away from him at meetings, he lowered his eyes and waited. He thought the storm would pass if he did not add wind to it. As days went on, the whispers hardened into shape. The jackal told the lion's guards that the crane had advised some families to move their nests closer to water. This was true. The crane had noticed cracks in the earth and feared thirst, not flood. But the guards heard only what fit their worry. They did not ask the crane to explain. They did not wish to look uncertain. When a sudden sickness spread among the fish, the forest needed someone to blame. The jackal spoke quickly. He said the crane had known the fish would die and had stayed near the river to profit from it. This was false, but it sounded neat. The monkeys repeated it loudly. The deer nodded without speaking. Silence began to look like agreement. The lion called a gathering beneath the old fig tree. The crane stood alone, wings folded, listening as others spoke about him as if he were not there. Each sentence twisted a small truth into a sharp shape. When he tried to answer, his voice was calm but thin against the crowd. He explained his warnings, his watching, his reasons. The jackal smiled and asked why such explanations came only now. The lion grew tired. Hunger pressed on him too, and order mattered more than fairness in that moment. He declared that the crane's presence caused unrest. For the peace of the forest, the crane would be sent away until trust returned. No time was given to measure truth. No one stepped forward to defend him. The crane bowed his head, not from guilt, but from understanding how far the current had carried him. He left at dawn. The reeds were quiet without him. Weeks later, the river dried further than anyone expected. Without the crane's careful watching, nests collapsed and eggs were lost. The jackal moved on to another place, carrying new stories. The forest survived, but something did not heal. Animals learned to speak quickly and listen poorly. When regret came, it stayed. The moral is this: when words travel faster than truth, and silence is mistaken for guilt, trust becomes a weapon, and those who believe everything may lose what they needed most.